Comparison video, synthetic versus organic. You decide which one.
Breaker, this is the truck and tanker Yanker. I'm 10-8 with my 10 in the wind. My heaters are glowing, my manners are showing. Wind her up, let her go, come on. I'm your travel agent with a story to tell. Let's go for a ride.
Hey, it's a truck and tanker Yanker. Welcome to the land of ice and snow. Yep, it's a truck and tanker Yanker here. Now, right now, just what brought up this story was just looking around me. Now, if you just look out the window here, you can see we're getting a bit of snow. It's supposed to get, I don't know, something like, depending on where we're at here in Montana, they said somewhere between 4 and 18 inches of snow. So, something like that over the next couple of days. But the weather's going to drop down. It's going to get cold. And that's what kind of made me think of this story was we're supposed to get some below zero temperature. We haven't got too much of that this winter. It's been a pretty mild winter so far. So anyway, let me set you down over here in my handy dandy holder. And as you can see, I'm still in a day cab because my truck is still broke down here. I get this set up so it's just perfect. All right. That is not perfect. Well, you know, this technical problems here we have at the Truck and Tanker Yanker YouTube channel, but we can get her handled. That's right. So, what made me think of this is the cold weather. Now, you could call this a comparison video between which is best, organic motor oil or synthetic motor oil. And all I can give you is my personal experience. Now, for years and years and years, of course, that's all we had available to us, was organic motor oil. The company I work for switched over, it's been a few years back now, to synthetic motor oil. And we now use a Cenex brand Enviro Edge 540 fully synthetic motor oil. And that's what my company puts in all of their trucks. We also have, for many of our different trucks, different kinds of heaters and warmers and plug-ins and all sorts of stuff to combat cold weather and cold weather starts and all that kind of a thing. And I was in a motel. I had a day cab. That was back when I was in a day cab all the time. For about 8 years, I was in a day cab, and so I was parked at a motel in Shelby, Montana. Now the little heater, we had an S-bar heater, and you could set the timer on the heater to go off about 2 hours before I get into the truck. And the heater was diesel powered, just come right out of the fuel tank and powered the heater. Well, anyway, I'd set my timer so it would go off 2 hours before I planned on getting in the truck, and that way the engine would be, you kept the engine right at about 100 degrees or something. The engine water, it would circulate the water. Had a little impeller inside the S-bar that circulated the water around, kept the engine warm. So we got in the truck, just fire right up no matter how bad the weather was. Well, anyway, I spent the night in a motel in Shelby, Montana. And when I got up in the morning, it was cold. It was real cold. And you can feel when you got wet hair from the shower and you walk outside and it freezes just like that, it's cold. When your breath starts freezing up your mustache, it's cold. So anyway, I walked outside and it was cold. I'm just saying. And as I walked over to my truck, normally usually from a distance you can see the spot where the exhaust on my S-bar heater usually just kind of melts a spot in the snow or the ice. The exhaust does, because it points at the ground. And I didn't see that spot. It kind of started to worry me a little bit. The closer you get, you can hear it. It sounds like a vacuum cleaner going like that. It must be the fan, the pump. I don't know what all it is. A little burner in there. I don't know. But anyway, the S-bar heater make noise. I didn't hear any noise. I'm like, oh no. I got over to the truck. And it was not on. The S-bar was not on. I got into the truck and I turned the key into the on position, and my little timer on the S-bar, this truck here used to have an S-bar, so it's still got the timer on the dash because it's a little older truck. This is a 2012 truck I'm in. And the S-bar said F1. It was in failure mode, and that means it never even started. So my engine was just as cold as the environment. I turned the key to the on position. I got the LED dash and barely could see the LED, and it told me the outside temperature was 32 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. And I thought, there's no hope or prayer this truck is going to start. Now, we just switched over to the synthetic motor oil. And I'm like, there's no hope or a prayer that this thing going to start. I'd been in cold weather with engines like that. And the oil just gets so thick, it gets sticky like molasses. It just gets really super thick and really super sticky. That's organic motor oil. And when you go to turn your motor over, there's just too much resistance to even turn. It won't even turn. It won't even go. It might just go because it's just the crank, the rings, the pistons, the bearings, everything. All those moving surfaces that got to be slippery are now sticky. So anyway, I thought, well, before I call the boss in the mechanic shop at our junkyard, I thought, well, I better at least try to turn it over so I can say I tried. And so anyway, I turned the key over, and it actually went. I didn't expect to do that much, and then it fired. Totally blew me away. I mean, totally blew me away. So after the truck was running, being as cold as it was, and the engine as cold as it was, it probably had about 3 cylinders out of 6 running to begin with, and then number 4 come on, and number 5 come. I waited till all 6 was online before actually, you don't want to give her any throttle before that either. I waited till all 6 were online, and I had my idle set up, and it was already starting to warm up. I was going to go inside and warm up. I was going to eat breakfast or something like that, because it takes too long for a truck to warm up, and it's 32 below 0. And I'm not just going to sit there in 32 below 0 waiting for my truck to warm up before the heater comes on. So anyway, but I thought, I better call the boss and tell him about this, because this has just amazed me. So I called him up. This is the boss in the mechanic shop anyway. I called him up, and I said, hey, I'm in Shelby, and it's 32 below 0 here. And I said, my S-bar didn't come on. Oh, immediately he just started cursing, because he knew what that meant. It meant my truck was froze up and I wasn't going to get it started. And I said, but my truck started. And he said, what? And I said, my truck started. I don't know what to tell you. I says, I didn't expect it to even turn over. And I said, he goes, yeah, you wouldn't expect that. And I said, and it turned over, and it started, and all 6 of them are running, and it's starting to warm up. And I just thought you ought to know. I think it's that new motor oil that we're using, Cenex Enviro Edge 540. It's slipperier than the organic, apparently. And it is a lighter seeming oil, a 540. I mean, it's good 5 and 40, I guess. But it just doesn't gum up the same way organics do. And, and that was 6 years ago, maybe, I guess. Maybe more. I don't remember how long ago it was. But our company's been using that Cenex brand motor oil ever since then. And, I'm not on the inside of what's going on in the mechanic shop, but they're believers in it, and all our trucks are switched over to it. They go extended oil changes, and they keep all of their trucks to around 950,000 miles. So, and they do, I think, oil changes at 50,000 miles. That's a little high in my book. I used to own trucks, and I never went that high, even though they told me I could. I never did. And but anyway, so they believe in it. And after that situation there in Shelby, Montana, I believe in synthetic oils too. I use them in vehicles at home. I have my diesel pickups and that type of thing. I guess the first synthetic oils I ever heard of was AMSOIL. And a lot of old timers, they know what the AMSOIL and an AMSOIL salesman, and they just sounded like cultic believers, in their product. But I gotta say, now that it's becoming more mainstream with the synthetics and that type of thing, I believe in it too. I guess it's pretty good stuff. So if I was to compare organic motor oil and synthetic motor oil, I'd say if you do a lot of cold weather, country driving, or you're from cold weather country, or you're in cold weather country, synthetic is a way to go. And you got your car and pickup, whatever like that, parked outside a motel, and you come through Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, just pick a cold region of the country, and you want your pickup to start, you didn't plug it in. You want your car to start, you didn't plug it in. Synthetic is a good way to go. So on the comparison, I have to lean towards the synthetics. I thought the Amsoil cultic believers were kind of funny back in the day, but I gotta say, I believe in it. Hey, take it easy, all right? Keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down. Look on beyond your hood ornament. Don't be a bumper sticker. I'm the truck and tanker yanker. Hey, we gone.